Good morning, everyone. Today in episode 4, we're going to talk about what's called the dark night of the soul. Have you ever felt like your entire life was falling apart? Not just one thing, but everything. The relationship, the career, the identity you spent years building, the beliefs you once held on to, the version of yourself that used to feel familiar. Have you ever looked around and thought, I don't know who I am anymore? If so, you may have experienced what many people call the dark night of the soul. And if you're in that season right now, I want you to know something. You're not broken, you're actually transforming. Welcome back to Unbound and Rewritten with Laura. Today we're talking about one of the most painful, confusing, and misunderstood parts of the healing journey, the dark night of the soul. It's the season where everything that once felt certain begins to unravel. The season where old identities die. Old beliefs are questioned, old coping mechanisms stop working, and the person you've always been no longer fits. It's not uncomfortable, it's not pretty, and most people don't talk about it. But it's often where the deepest transformation begins. So what is a dark night of the soul? For me, the dark night of the soul wasn't one moment, it was actually a season. A 3-year season for me. I've been through several of them, but they've only lasted like a couple weeks or a month, but we're talking 3 years, okay? A season where everything I thought I knew about myself began to change. The things that once distracted me stopped working. The survival patterns I depended on stopped working. The masks I wore stopped working, and suddenly I was face to face with myself. The wounded parts, the fearful parts, the grieving parts, the parts I'd spent years avoiding. And honestly, I was terrified because healing isn't just about becoming. It's also about letting go. One of the hardest parts of healing is grieving the versions of ourselves that helped us survive. For me, that meant grieving the caretaker, the rescuer, the fixer, the person who thought her value came from helping everyone else. Those identities protected me for a long time, and I didn't even know they were identities. I honestly thought they were who I was because I picked these things up before I could talk. But eventually they become cages. The problem is that when we release old identities, we often don't know yet who we're becoming. And that's where many people get stuck. They know they're no longer who they were, but they haven't fully become who they're meant to be. And that's the in-between. That's the dark night. Most of us want healing to feel good. We want breakthroughs, we want peace, we want clarity. But sometimes healing feels like loss, because it is. We're losing versions of ourselves. We're losing old beliefs. We're losing unhealthy attachments. We're losing identities built around survival. And even when those things are unhealthy, letting go can still hurt. Because they're familiar, and human beings often choose familiar pain over unfamiliar freedom. One of the most important things I learned during my darkest seasons was this. Everything that was falling apart was never meant to come with me. So let me read that again, so important. Everything that was falling apart was never meant to come with me, to come with you, never. Not the unhealthy relationships, not the survival patterns, not the limiting beliefs, not the self-abandonment, not the version of myself that existed only to survive. The dark night wasn't punishment, even though it felt like it. It was preparation. It was life removing everything that was standing between me and who I was becoming in this season of my life. So basically, the last 3 years have been hell. I didn't know it until the end of the 3 years, But what the catalyst that started it was me just starting to really wake up to the patterns and being so much more deeper self-aware of the people around me and how I was being treated, talked to. Just my eyes were just so much more wide open than they had ever been. And things that I've said before, I'm sick of this, I'm sick of that. Like, you really got to get sick of something to really be sick of it. You really have had to have had enough to have had enough. So you don't really mean it until you actually put actions to it. And so that day eventually came. I had had enough. I had had enough of everything that I had been enduring my entire life. And again, you, depending on how much healing work you have to do, there's other layers you have to get past before you can get to this one. And everybody's journey is different. But when I woke up, not realizing at the time what set it off, my life was in pure chaos. Like, the boyfriend of 12 years was horrible, a horrible human being, the things he did to me. He only was happy when the world revolved around him. He was cheating, and even one of the times got caught doing it, like literally in the lifetime pool. I was there. God protected me. He hid me. But before he got there, he told me, hey, he's coming today, and he's going to be with a girl. And I saw this girl, the personal trainer, and I was like, I bet you it's her. Sure enough, there he comes with her, laying out, getting in the pool, kissing, legs wrapped around. With my own eyes, I'm seeing this. Then I decided to watch it for a good hour. And, the next day I call him and, hey, I just want to let you know, I saw you, doing X, Y, and Z. No, that wasn't me. Dude, I saw you. No, that wasn't me. This is all the steps of every detail you guys did that day. Nope, it wasn't me. Almost 40 years old and acting like this. So that was like one of the most disgusting moments. And I was like, done. But for some reason, he just couldn't take the hint. And he lived 5 minutes from me, so he would still come over all the time anyways. But I was literally checked out. I didn't give a shit. It was about me at that point. Like, I had had enough. He just got a lot of trauma, but he thinks he's perfect and that he doesn't have any issues, and he very much so does. And but anyways, we're not going to keep talking about him. But that's just, one example of, the relationship falling apart and God just revealing more insight on things that I wouldn't have known about if I wasn't at the pool that day to see it with my own eyes. With a million other issues besides that one that he had a problem with. He just loved to fill voids with attention, and sex and whatever else he could find to fill it. But anyways, so that was one thing. The other thing was not allowing my children to talk to me the way that they did anymore. I had had enough. And another thing was, a job that spiritually I knew that I had to let go, but yet I loved it. But yet, knowing God, he was literally making it so much more uncomfortable until I left. So I left and then got a new job, which is where I'm at now. But, I was having scenarios where, again, self-sacrificing. It's a new business. And so you got to work your butt off and you got to do all these extra things and you got to wear so many hats. And so I've been learning through the process to slowly let go more and more and more of things that are not my problem. And not feel guilty about it. Because again, they're not my problem. My job is to worry about me and my roles. Everything else is not my problem. And it's also my job when I'm feeling some kind of way or I'm getting stressed out or overwhelmed, I need to tell somebody, like, look, I need help. I can't think of anything else right now, but literally just like everything that I had ever known had fallen apart. And then the in-between came once I got to South Carolina, and again, a spiritual move. And the in-between was pretty long too. So the last year I've been here, it was between the dark night and the in-between. So I'm just slowly kind of emerging out of the in-between right now. So I'm starting to have new identities of myself emerge. And I'm like, who am I? Who the hell am I? I mean, they're good things like this right now. I'm talking to you right now. I would never do this. I don't even still know how I'm doing this, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And so that's exciting. You know, a lot of us do go through this, and a lot of people don't even know what it is, but it's really scary. And some people think it's depression and, you know, like it's never going to end. It felt like that way for me too. But I promise you, the darker your season is and the longer it is, the bigger the blessing is on the other side. I can promise you that. And that's a fact. So if I could tell anybody that's in this season right now, one thing, just keep going. I promise you it gets better, and it's even better than you can ever imagine. So what the dark night has taught me is to learn how to surrender even more, how to trust even more, have more faith than I ever did before. So it's just going deeper into these things. It's taught me patience. It taught me that healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about removing everything that was never truly you. You know, trauma does things to people, and, you know, you're in survival mode, and you got to be all these different things that allow you to survive and get through days. And, you know, we think that, once again, that they're us. They're not. They're not. You know, me, I never got to know who I was. My trauma began literally the day I was born, before I was born. I had no idea. I had no freaking idea that was not who I was. So I am becoming everything that I ever knew I was internally is now starting to show externally. But again, you have to be patient. It takes time. And every person's pace is different. But the dark night of the soul is also about removing everything. Well, I already said that, but let me just say it again because it's so important. It's about removing everything that was never truly you. Never truly you. You have to remove those things to become your authentic self, to make room for the things that actually are who you really are. And underneath all the pain, all the fear, all the uncertainty, I found myself. I am finding myself. Not the version shaped by trauma, not the version shaped by survival, the version God created me to be. If you're walking through a dark night of the soul, don't rush it. You don't want to get stuck. You don't want to get out of it. Eventually it'll come back around and you'll have to do it again. You don't want that, I promise you. Don't numb it. Don't run from it. Sit with it. Learn from it. Be in stillness. Ask questions. Like, what is this? Why do I feel this way? If you're in stillness long enough, if you're somebody who's distracted by being busy all the time or purposely doing it or subconsciously or unconsciously, sit there in stillness. Go to your safe place, your favorite place, and just sit in silence for however long it takes until you can start hearing your inner self and trust that voice that your soul is speaking. And the more practice in it, the louder it gets. And the more you trust it, the better decisions you start making and your life begins to change. So trust that something is being rewritten within you, because it is. Because sometimes what feels like the end is actually the beginning. So thank you for joining me for episode 4 of Unbound and Rewritten with Laura. If this episode resonated with you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who may need this reminder today. And remember, you are never meant to stay bound, and I will see you in episode 5. Have a good day.